Okay. Three mantra bola ho. Pulinanandji. Pulinanandji.
Ah, Kadi mantra.
Yeah.
Namo Vitragay.
Namo Vitragay.
Namo Vit. Namo Vitragay.
Namo Vitragay.
Turn off your video.
Maro.
Maybe that. Yeah, that will help somewhat.
Okay. Deepakanandji.
Namo
Three mantra bola.
Vitragay.
Oh, okay.
Namo Vitragay.
Deepak. Namo Arihantanam.
Namo
Namo Arihantanam.
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo Ayariyanam.
Namo
Ariyanam.
Namo Vajrayanam.
Namo
Namo Vajrayanam.
Namo Loe Savasahunam.
Namo Lowe Savasahunam.
Eso Panchana Mukaro.
Heso Panchanamukaro.
Sauvabhava Panasano.
Sarvabhavapanasano.
Manglanam cha Sabesin.
Mangalanam cha Savesin.
Padmam Havai Mangalam.
Padmam Havai Mangalam.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand Mahatma. Last time we had a lot of input from Deepakanandji, Pulinanandji. So we were thinking about, okay, normally, there's a lot of competition, especially in parents કે મારો છોકરો મારો છોકરો આ grade કર્યું, મારા છોકરાએ આ પોસ્ટમાં લીધી, આ trophy લીધી, and all that stuff. So that brings some sort of a pressures on you. So we can talk about that, what you think about that. But okay, Krishna.
Jai Satchidanand Bada.
Jai
Actually,
Satchidanand.
I do have a question. I want to share something. First thing, the girls, we put the girls in like a separate school, not in the public school system in here. And the reason was we didn't feel like the system was good here. Mostly it was the influence, like in Garma, sanskar che badu, like we have positive and dadas nan and all good things, but when they leave the house and they go outside, my worry was the influence from external exposure, right? Bad influence. And so many times mom and dad would say, why are you putting them in a private school? You guys grew up in a public school system. And it's not a conflict, but this comment keep on coming. And I try to explain that, look, times have changed. There's not like how it was before when I was in their age, that things were a little bit, you didn't have all these problems that are going in the world. And the other thing was that me and Krishna decided that we want to focus on the education. And so we said, okay, well, let's put him in a top school that he can get in and do the marks. We don't put pressure on them. We don't tell them that you need to bring home 100% every time. But we do expect some performance from the girls, that when they bring the mark, if they feel that they didn't get it, I ask them, I say, okay, what was the problem? What do you see where your fault was in solving this math problem or reading or comprehension? So my question is, there was two questions. First, putting them as a parent, making sure that they're a positive influence outside of the home. And second is expectation of marks, but more of them understanding their their fault. Is that reasonable to say that I want them to understand where their fault was in the school or in their assignment?
Deepakanandji?
Jai Sachidanand. See, one thing is fair enough to avoid any bad influence, negative influence on the kids. If you have put in a proper school, looking at the present scenario, it's quite fair enough. And if you are able to afford it, so it's quite fair. Certain things is like we can like with the Gnan we can foresee it also that they also come with some credit on their part that their parents are able to afford this and they're not getting exposed to the negativities of the society. That is also there. So the decision of putting them into the private school is quite fair enough. Parents, your parents may say that during our time it was this and that, but situations have changed drastically. So I also believe that those kids who are in public school, their parents also, if they could afford, I believe they would always put their kids into private schools only.
Yeah.
So that's fair enough. Now, now that they are in a good school and they are reasonably doing good. So first thing, don't push them too much to get high marks. I believe they are getting good marks, but don't push on getting them. I mean, 95 plus or 98 plus. That's not necessary. Don't pressurize them. They are good, doing good because if you just imagine, I'll give you an example. We judge the quality of their education from the exam. Correct?
Yeah.
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 So just imagine in one of the university exam, my friend, I had done all the chapters from the book, from the reference book.
Yeah.
He did only 5 chapters, 5 to 8 chapters, but he did it thoroughly. Whatever it is, he did only 8 chapters. And most of the questions with option, they fell into these 8 chapters only.
Mm.
He scored highest mark in the whole university. And that subject was such a lousy subject, nobody can score that marks. Now, he was identified as the brilliant student in that subject. I'm not saying it is right or wrong, but we should not focus on their getting 95 plus or 98 plus. If they are getting between like 85 and 95, I believe it's fair enough.
Yeah.
So don't pressurize them. And at the same time, where they are exactly lacking, they are committing some mistakes due to which they are getting somewhere lesser marks. So try them, I mean, make them understand to work on it and try to improve that.
Okay.
And don't
So
pressurize them because they are getting good surrounding as the for by putting them into a private school. So that is good enough, right?
yeah. Yeah. Right now, what I see right now with especially Krupa is she might get a little bit lower mark and then she would come home. Me and Krishna don't say anything and she would start crying. She would say, Mommy, Papa, I didn't do so well. And so little bit, I think, okay, I don't want her to take so much pressure. I don't want her to feel that this is how we're judging her as my daughter, right? So I just try to calm her down and say, Beta, you did excellent. You just see where you were lacking, reread those chapter, and then just leave it as that. Doesn't matter if you bring 0 mark. And a lot of times I say Dada was even forced to go to school. He would stay in a tree and Ba would get upset on him. So she would start laughing because at that time there was no expectation. And mine was like, not very good, but I don't want her to feel like, that's self-imposed pressure. I don't want her to feel that anxiety,
One more thing. Imagine that if I get less marks, then we can anticipate where exactly I have gone wrong. Number one, I did not study that lesson. Now, that won't be the case in a reasonably good student that I have read all the chapters. Now, what is important or how you get good marks or better marks, how well you revise it, how number of times, because the more you read, the more you get the picture of that whole thing with right understanding, and that's how you get good marks. Not just by reading, but understanding and putting things into picture like that. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So we must focus on that. Not that they don't know. And at times, if you pressurize them too much, then what happens? During the exam time, that crucial time, they will become blank. And nothing comes in their mind. We should not do that also. Let them be free. Let them find out where exactly they are going wrong. See, it's like the more you repeat, the more you become perfect. You reach your target basically, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is where we see. It's like in a mathematical subject like mathematics or physics. What you need to practice so that you don't commit mistakes in calculation.
Yeah.
So that's how one becomes perfect and get good marks. And in those subjective uh, subject, what do you call it, where there are too much of explanation, then there you need repetition also, reading it
Right.
again and again on regular basis. So then you get the picture of that whole subject. So if you focus on that, you will definitely get good results.
Okay.
So method is also important, how you study, not just knowing the subject, understanding the subject.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jai
Okay, just a
Sachidanand.
couple of comments from me. Two things. Make sure fundamentals they learn at this age. Very important. Foundation and fundamentals. Once they learn, then the rest of the lives will become easy. And second thing, good practice. Because at this age, kids don't have patience. They want to finish it off and do something else or whatever. So good practice, make sure they get into reviewing their work. That is, these two things will make them wonderful kids. Kaushal?
Yeah, Jai Satchidanand. So I have a unique situation. Is કે હું એક રીતે ઉછરેલો ભણવાનું મારી સ્ટાઇલ એક અલગ હતી. I did not give up that easily. Or I would say કે જ્યાર સુધી મને આવડે નહીં ત્યાર સુધી હું છોડતો નતો એ ટોપિક, કે I should be comfortable with it. પણ એવો જ નેચર કવનનો નથી, કબીરનો છે. He will keep trying. He won't give up. But એનું હજુ રમત, કબીરનું હજુ રમતમાં છે. Kavan is studying. And the problem or the thing that I've observed as a parent is that Kavan tries a few times and then he gives up. And he's learning a different language. He's learning Mandarin. So we don't have any knowledge as such. Like, we try to find and help him out, but that basic part where you don't just give up, you just keep on doing it, that is lost. And that's where I'm a little flustered. Okay, how do I handle it? કારણ કે અગર હું એને કહું કે why are you giving up, just try one more time, તો patience નથી. And then when you tell him something, he'll be like, yeah, I just can't do it, or he'll just start crying. So don't know how to balance that part.
Pulinanandji?
Thoughts?
Pulinanandji is there?
Yeah. I'm there, but I'm actually આજે ખબર નહીં મને બધાનો અવાજ તૂટેલો આવે છે.
Yeah. But go ahead.
yeah. એટલે વેલ આમાં તો ટ્રાય જ કરવાનું છે. દાદાને બહુ વ્યવહારથી ટ્રાય કરવાનું છે, પરસ્યુ અને મોટિવેટ જ કરવાનું છે. ઇટ ઇઝ અ લોંગ એક્સરસાઇઝ. અને થોડું જ્ઞાનનો ભાગ વાપરવો હોય તો બસ દાદા એને સમજાવવાની શક્તિ આપો, આ ફાઇલનો સંભાવે નિકાલ કરવાની શક્તિ આપો. વેન યુ સ્ટક ને કે હવે હાઉ ટુ હેન્ડલ હિમ, તો એ પ્રાર્થના જ કામ કરશે કે કેમ કરીને એ દાદા એને બરાબર સમજાવી શકો એવી શક્તિ આપો. લાસ્ટ ટાઈમ એક વન વેરી સારી વસ્તુ કીધી હતી, રાખીબેને બી કીધી હતી કે વોટ એ રિયલી વોટ વર્ક ઇઝ આપણે ઇન્ટેન્શન, કે મને આદર્શ માતા પિતા થવાની પરમ શક્તિ આપો. એ તમારી જે અંદરની ભાવના હશે ને, એટલે તમને કુદરતી દરેક સંજોગમાં જે બી સિચ્યુએશન ઊભી થાય એ સિચ્યુએશનમાં તમને એને હેન્ડલ કરતા ફાવશે. એનો કે ઇન યોર કેસ યુ સેડ કવન ગિવ્સ અપ, તો એ ગિવ અપ ના કરે અથવા એ ગિવ અપ કરે તો મારે શું કરવું જોઈએ એ વસ્તુ તમને અંદરથી સૂચશે ઓર યુ ગેટ ધી એપ્રોપ્રિએટ થિંગ. છેવટે આજ્ઞા તો છે શુદ્ધાત્માને પ્રાર્થના કરો અને એને સમજાવો, વાત કરો, સો દેટ યુ ડોન્ટ ગેટ ફ્રસ્ટ્રેટેડ અને વિથ ઈગો સો ડઝન્ટ ગેટ હર્ટ. સો
બરાબર છે.
that is the basic. આપણે કરવાનો હિસાબ, હા છેવટે આપણો કરવાનો હિસાબ છે. we have to try our level best. પાછી તો એનું વ્યવસ્થિત કામ કરશે ને, એનું વ્યવસ્થિત કામ કરશે. બેઝિકલી વોટ આઈ વુડ સે ઇઝ એટલે આ તો જશે આ તો સારો ક્વેશ્ચન, જવાબ તો આટલો જ છે. પણ એક સિવાય જનરલ વાત થોડીક મારે કરવી છે કે એઝ અ પેરેન્ટ our primary thing is કે we instill 4 human values till they are around age 10, 12 or something. કે એ છે ને 5 to 10 એ absorption area હોય where they are very malleable. એ લોકો લોકોને તમે જે નાખવું એ નાખી શકો. So we should have તમને બહાર
We are losing you.
ક્યાંથી નહીં મળે. સ્કૂલમાંથી સિલેબસ મળશે, હોબીસ મળશે, એનાલિટિકલ થિંકિંગ મળશે, પણ જે હ્યુમન વેલ્યુઝ છે કે એ કોઈને દુઃખ નહીં આપવાનું. Some of the basic qualities પર
Pulinanandji, તમે
Pulinanandji,
we lost you after દુઃખ ના આપવાનું.
You are breaking a lot, so we are not able to even connect the whole thing, message. You change the position, na? Change your position, location, here and there.
તો હવે શું કરું, પણ હવે actually દીપકાને તમે જવાબ આપી દો દીપકાને. You give reply, Deepakanandji.
Okay, fine. But you try to change the location, and when you get our voice in continuity, continuous, then probably that's the right location for you. Huh? Joe, Kaushal bhai, what he said, from what I anticipate, that those academic part is there. The other part of the virtues, what we need to master to them, will depend on how you do it, how you perform inside. So try to focus on that. And that's what Pulinanandji was trying to, we want them to imbibe those qualities, and those qualities itself will change and improve the results. Now, regarding certain subjects, I have seen that કેટલાક છોકરાઓને જો math ગમે છે ને, if they have interest in mathematics, they keep doing mathematics all day long. And they never get tired, and they get fantastic marks, like almost 100. And if they get 99 marks out of 100, they feel upset. Where did I miss that 1 mark? But for this, if he's losing 25 marks, he doesn't have any feeling. What does that mean? He lacks that interest in the subject. So we have to make that subject interesting for him. You know, probably he is having kind of dislike, or just he doesn't want to do it. If that is the thing, he will never get good marks. Let me tell you my case. One time I failed in mathematics and my brother gets full marks in mathematics. That extreme was the case. And with that failure, no one spared at home. So I thought that if he can do it, why can't I? Where I was lacking. So then I found out that my idea was I should just pass. That's enough. But that is not the case you would require if you want to go into a better university. So then the thing changed and changed drastically. I also started getting full marks. So you have to make things interesting, important for him, and then that importance and that interest will make him score good marks. Naturally and effortlessly. Because see, it's like he's not dumb, but his brain is resisting that knowledge, that information. So if that is happening, his brain is not registering that information. And we have to make him register that information, which can only be possible if you make it interesting, you make it important. And push him, you can do it. I'll be with you, I'll help you out. And say one thing, in life, never give up. If you give up, you're gone. So you want to fall in that category? He says, no. At times, you have to really pinch his ego. So that he gets up and says, yes, daddy, I'll do it. Come on. If Kabir can do it younger than you, why can't you do it? So these are positive push-ups. You motivate him. At times, you have to really, boost his ego. Even, that thing can help people getting success. So it's like, that's why it is said that, these coaches who train the guys in athletics or any other game, they don't only prepare physically, but they prepare them psychologically and psychologically and mentally also, because their mind gives up. The mind is not ready. So to make their mind ready for the thing. And even it's like, after all, this is machine. Whatever you like, you will add it. You will accept it. But you don't like, this is where you have to work on it. And make it easy for him. Right? Jai Satchidanand.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
a couple
Satchidanand.
of things, Kaushal. Yeah, Deepakanandji, you can make it interesting. Make sure that we make it interesting all subjects. Okay, we are also partial, but we make sure geography, social science, every subject, make them interesting from your viewpoint, so that they will be interested in. And second thing is, if possible, somebody should be learning with him, not as a real learning, but as a second person. So encourage him doing that. So maybe you can set a time, you or Kushbi or Mummy, that, hey, certain time, half an hour, we'll learn together. If you do that, because that's new to you also. So then, he'll be more encouraged and not get frustrated like that. That's my thought about it. Okay, Pooja?
Jai Satchidanand. A few questions. We talked a little bit about the importance of motherhood, like in the last 2 weeks, just about like how the mothers are supposed to give sanskar and the fathers, for the most important role, they give their kind of their name. And I started kind of reading the generation gap a little bit, something I probably should have done a long time ago, but at least I have the opportunity to do now. And I think it resonates with me a little bit more. But in there, they talk about, just a little bit about the mother and how the father doesn't really play that much of a role. But I don't know if that was written mostly in that time when working, like when mothers weren't working, and things like that. So I kind of wanted to know maybe Dada's input and maybe the Aptputra's intake on, before, like my family is a very patriarchal family. Like whatever the father says goes. There's really no role for the mother to speak up and intervene on certain matters. And so that's what my children see for the most. And I don't know if that's correct in their upbringing, because they're both women as well, that live in the Western world. But I also want to respect, and so I'm always walking on very thin ice, because I want to be respectful to Ruchir. I want to be respectful to his values. But at the same time, I honestly haven't figured out what my role should be in terms of vocalizing and showing, this is what a mother should be. So I guess maybe some more like guidance on what like a working mother in America should look like, I guess. I don't know. That's what I'm struggling with.
Handbook of motherhood. Pulinanandji, let us see. Can we hear you?
જયારે દીપકાંત તમે પેલા કહો ને, મને હું બ્રેક છું છે થોડુંક, એટલે આઈ હેવ કોટ હાફ ધ ક્વેશ્ચન.
Okay.
I will, તમે જરા કહો પછી હું કહું જરા. હા, પ્લીઝ.
Should I answer or I explain what she said?
થોડુંક કહી દો એને. I think if I just summarize, her question was કે she comes from a patriarchal family, એટલે બાપ જે કે એ જ બધાએ સાંભળવાનું હોય. So that is what is happening now. And what is her role as a mother to be played? દાદા ભગવાન કીધું કે મધરની ઇન્ફ્લુઅન્સ બહુ હોય છોકરા ઉપર અને ફાધરનું લિમિટેડ હોય, પણ અહીંયા અમારા કેસમાં ફાધરનું ઇન્ફ્લુઅન્સ વધારે છે. તો મારો રોલ પ્લે શું હોય, અને વર્કિંગ મધર છે અને અમેરિકા છે, તો મારો રોલ પ્લે શું હોય? Is that the question?
That's the gist. Yes, you got it all. Yeah.
Well, patriarchal family છે, તો patriarchal family એ તો રહેશે. Because you see, ultimately, if she happens to go into a Patel family, તો એ થોડા એના values બી હોય. પણ મધરનો રોલ તો, as I said, કે basic human values જ instill કરવાની હોય. basic human values. એનું વ્યવસ્થિત in terms of education, career, job, એ થોડુંક તો લાવેલા છે. પણ human values કે right set of thinking, એનાથી she will be able to select her own career, decide what is right and what is wrong for her. એટલે you have to try your level best, because what else can you do? Because જો family setup જ એવું હોય ને, તો very little role play, unless તમે બેવ જણા as a parent, that is father and mother both as a parent decide that this is how we will raise up kids. So I think the answer would be sorting it out first amongst yourself, that is the father and mother. What is the direction we want to give as far as raising of kids goes? What are the common values you people share, and see what best you can supplement on that. There could be sources of disagreement. You may feel that these points also need to be taken care of, being a lady and being the girls being girls, women. So the women viewpoint could also be put into perspective to Ruchis, and see what best can be sorted out. If things work fine, then theek hai. Otherwise, prayers ke whatever is in the best interest of the daughters, may both of us get that vision and like wisdom, એટલે અમને એ સદબુદ્ધિ હોજો કે અમે છોકરાઓને સારી રીતે ઉછેરી શકીએ. Your prayers and intentions are the things that really work and bring things into focus. હવે અમુક વાર જો તારે અને રુચિરમાં ડિસ્પ્યુટો કઈના છોકરીઓને આમ કરવું છે અને તને જરાક ના લાગે, તો rather than get into friction, થોડુંક ઓકે કરો, just flow along, but અંદર ભાવના રાખવી કે આમ થાય તો સારું, આમ થાય તો સારું, આમ થાય તો સારું. પછી nature will do the needful. Nature will do the needful in the sense કે if you are right and it is in the best interest of the girls, એવા સંજોગ ઉભા થશે where whatever you feel should be done will get done. The primary, basically, the core principle that I'm trying to share in this is, okay, અથડામણ કરવામાં કાંઈ મજા નથી between the two of you. That is the parent, And number two, which is the most important thing and the key thing, આ તો વર્ડ્સમાં આપણે બધું મૂકીએ છીએ કે આ સ્કૂલમાં મૂકજો, આ બોલજો, આ કરજો, આ નહીં કરો. The basic key behind is the intent, and the intent is we want to be ideal parents. We wish the well for the best of our children. Definition of એના હિતમાં શું છે, એનું સારું શું, એને સારા સંસ્કાર શું, definition of that is what is to be clear. Education, marks, hobbies are one part of the personality. That is not the entire personality of the child. એટલે the intention કે એનું સારું થાવ, અને સારાની ડિઝાઇન તમારા હાથમાં હોવી જોઈએ કે એ એક્સપર્ટ સ્ટુડન્ટ બને, માર્ક સારા લાવે, સ્પોર્ટ સારા લાવે, કલ્ચર સારા બને, ઓલરાઉન્ડર બને, હોબીસ બને. દેટ ઇઝ યોર ચોઇસ. પણ બેસિકલી આઈ સેડ યુ ટુ મેક હિમ અ ગુડ હ્યુમન બીંગ. બાકી બધી ટ્રેટ તો ઇનબિલ્ટ એના શું કહેવાય કર્મમાં લઈને જ આવેલો છે. You have to ખાલી રોલ પ્લે ઇટ આઉટ and to nurture all his positive qualities. That's all you can do. જે તમને નાનો એજ ગ્રુપ છે ને એમાં જ તમે ઇન્સ્ટિલ કરી શકશો સારા વેલ્યુઝ. And I tell you, those are the only things that will hold the child against. એ એકેડેમિક્સમાં ફેલ બી થશે ને પણ એને પ્રોપર હ્યુમન વેલ્યુઝ મળી હશે તો she herself will struggle, find out what to do and go ahead. Because as the child goes up, એની ઈગો વધે, અને એની ઈગો વધે એટલે તમારી પાસેથી ઇનપુટ અંદર નાખવાના સ્કોપ ઘટતા જવાના છે. So she has to take that decision. So that to enable her to take quality decisions is what you have to do. So that is the core value you and Ruchir have to share, that this is the upgrading value apart from all the outside stuff, you see. And if that doesn't work, your prayers will work અને તને એ વસ્તુ કરવા મળશે. So your role play, to the extent you have got the scope, you have to utilize. જે સ્કોપ જ નથી તો એ તારું વ્યવસ્થિત ને એનું પણ વ્યવસ્થિત, છોકરીઓનું પણ વ્યવસ્થિત. The intent કે I want to be ideal parent, મારે આદર્શ સંસ્કાર આપવા છે, that is the core thing. Fill in the blanks nature will કરશે. કયો કોર્સ કરાવો, કઈ હોબી કરાવી, કઈ સ્કૂલમાં મૂકવું, કેટલું ભણાવવું, કેટલું ફરવા લઈ જવું, કેટલા કપડા આપવા, that fill in the blanks nature will do. એના માટે પછી તમારે બેઉ જણા મ્યુચ્યુઅલ શેરિંગ આવશે between husband and wife કે આપણે એને આટલી ફ્રીડમ આપી in terms of pocket money, આટલી ફ્રીડમ આપી in terms of toys, in terms of outings, in terms of picnic, etc. ચાલો, એટલે એમાં તો જેટલું મ્યુચ્યુઅલ થાય એટલું કરવા દેવાનું, બાકી તારી ભાવના કરીને છોડી દેવાની, અને બાકીનું કામ જો કુદરત એના હિતમાં હશે તો તારા થ્રુ એ થશે. બટ યોર રિસ્પોન્સિબિલિટી એઝ અ મધર, my role play, my responsibility in raising the kid, you are dead serious on it, you are dead sincere to it. એ તારી ભાવના છે, એના માટે તું sacrifices કરીશ in time of energy. That's all that matters. You have tried your best, and એ છોકરીને હિતમાં હશે એ તું તારા નિમિત્ત થશે અથવા ફાધરના નિમિત્તે થશે. Ultimately you wish the best, you wish the best for the child. So what is in the best interest of the child is what matters, not our values. અને અમેરિકામાં તો ચાઇલ્ડ અપબ્રિંગિંગ છે ને એટલે આ પેટ્રિયલ વેલ્યુ ના બધું બહુ ડાયલ્યુટ થઈ જાય છે. Equality of men and women, equality and freedom of thought, and all those other values take over. એટલે અમેરિકામાં એ ઇન્ડિયન વેલ્યુઝ બહુ કામ નહીં કરે. All are equal, you have to respect each other. There is not much discrimination between a male and a female and all that stuff, you know. એટલે એ થોડુંક એ કલ્ચરને લઈને બી તમારે બ્લેન્ડ કરવું પડશે. એટલે યોર ઇન્ટેન્ટ વિલ વર્ક, એન્ડ જેટલું કોલેબરેટિવ એફર્ટથી જેટલું થાય એટલું ખરું. કુદરતના ઓલામાં યુ આર નોટ ગુનેગાર, નંબર 1. નોર વિથ ધ ચિલ્ડ્રન એવર બ્લેમ યુ કે અમે નાના હતા ત્યારે અમારા મા બાપે અમને આ શીખવાડ્યું નહીં, અમે નાના હતા ત્યારે અમારા મા બાપે અમને આ આપ્યું નહીં. They will not have a chance to find fault with you. You can do what is in your control. You can try your best to be on the same wavelength with the father, that is your husband, and you can be on the best intention to be with the children. After that, nothing you can do it. What you can still do is, which I mentioned in the previous Sunday, was character. Strength of character of the parents is of prime importance. તમારું ચારિત્ર બળ in terms of અણહકના લક્ષ્મી, અણહકના વિષય, તમારું ચારિત્ર બળ in terms of મન વચન કાયથી દુઃખ ના હો, તમારું ચારિત્ર બળ in terms of how much of તમે કેટલું ટીવી, મોબાઈલ મોજ છો, ખાઓ છો, પીઓ છો, એ how honest and sincere you are as a good person. તમે જ કોઈ વસ્તુ ફોલો ના કરતો, you can practice. એટલે strength of your character is of prime importance. બાકી all this is all otherwise જો એ નહીં હોય ને તો આ બધી વાતો છે અને એમાંનું એક વાત કામ નહીં કરે. Despite you having best of information on parenting, it will just not work. Child તમારી સામે જોશે જ નહીં સાહેબ. હું જો અણકનો વિષયમાં હો કે અણકનું લક્ષ્મીમાં હો કે કંઈક ગોસિપિંગ કરતો ને નેગેટિવિટીમાં હો કે હું વ્યસનમાં હો, ભલે છોકરાને ખબર નથી આઈ એમ ડ્રિંકિંગ, આ તો એક્ઝામ્પલ, વેરી ક્રૂડ એક્ઝામ્પલ. અરે પછી એની સામે આમ ગુડી ગુડી આઈ એમ ગિવિંગ ગિફ્ટ્સ એન્ડ ઓલ, બટ યોર ઇમ્પેક્ટ વિલ નોટ વર્ક. એની amount of parenting books, knowledge, information will just not work because the child will not look at you. A vibration, the strength of character is a very big thing. ગુલાબનું ફૂલ હોય ને તો એને કેવું ના પડે મારી સુગંધ આવે છે તમે સૂંઘો, sheer presence work, એ પરમાણુ જ કામ કરે. એવી આ તમારા મન વચન કાયાની જેટલી પ્યોરિટી હશે ને એટલું જ કામ કરશે. બાકી all this is only role guidance જ છે and information. So it is, you need to focus on your own character and with both, that is parents. Unless that is there, all this is going to go down the drain. All this is go down the drain. Nothing will work, I guarantee you. That is why I said parenting is very difficult. It calls for immense sacrifice on the part of the parent. Immense. And first you have to consider your character, your intention, you want to be a good parent, and you are a Mahatma, Dada's prayer, and everything will fall in place. Dada's blessings will work. This is the core principle. What you should be doing as a parent and the core human values. Try your best. Tu athraman nahi kare ne, so the children are very receptive. Papa says this, mommy says this, but ultimately mommy is cool. They will have the character. They understand what is good for. A good intention and a good heart is always revealed to anybody. હું બોલવામાં ભલે સ્માર્ટ હોઉં, પણ જેનું હાર્ટ પ્યોર હશે ને, that vibrations resonate with the child. Child resonate. તને લાગે ને મારો રોલ પ્લે ઓછો છે, નહીં સર. I tell you, as a mother, if your heart is there on the child, ને ભલે તને બોલવા બી ના મળે, interaction બી કરવા ના મળે, but you have so much deep and love and affection for the child. If you have a deep love and affection for the child, in the interest of the child, એ vibrations અને પહોંચે અને પહોંચે. અને એને બીજો પેરેન્ટ હોય જે એની સાથે બહુ જામતું ન હોય ને, તો એ ચૂપચાપ થઈને તારી પાસે આવશે, મમ્મી what to do this, મમ્મી what to do this. I have seen this. I have many other examples I have observed and I have seen, and I tell you that works like a shot. બોલવા કરતા strength of character, intention of the heart, that works like a shot. અને સંજોગો બદલાય સાહેબ. એને એક માં હતી, એને ઘણું કરું છું છોકરા માટે, કરવા ના મળે, બીજા બધા ઓબ્જેક્ટ કરે, પણ એનું હાર્ટ એટલું હતું, that heart resonated with the child. અને એ સંજોગો ઉભા થયા. All the resistance from all the other family members somehow went away and she could execute her deed because it's the connection of the heart. What we are discussing is the intellectual part of it, the buddhi part of it, which is also required. Hello? So when you are saying, what you are saying in your question was, coming from a patriarchal family, in an American scenario, I have limited role play. How should I execute an ideal mother role play? That was your primary question.
Right.
So in the limitation that you are, in the case study that you have defined, this would be the solution. This would be the solution. Because you have a limited role play.
Right. Okay.
So in the role play, purity of character, pure intention of the heart, and a hearty connection with the child. That is all that works. Okay. Otherwise also that is all that works. Okay,
that's perfect. Yeah.
Jai Sachidanand. See, one thing is, I give you an example. My nephew, he was like 6 or 7 years old. And one day his father got mad and my cousin got mad on him. Then, you know what my nephew told his father? Daddy, મમ્મી કેટલું સારી રીતે સમજાવે છે, તમે તો તરત ગુસ્સે થઈ જાવ છો, એ બધું મને નહીં આવડે. What we are trying to focus here, what a mother have and what a father have, and his connectivity with the children is totally different. So however you may want, however Ruchit Bhai may try, but what you can contribute, he cannot contribute. So it is like nature has given you that responsibility. So with whatever time you have, in whatever commitment of your work and rest of the things, you don't expect that he should also do that job, because that he doesn't have that knack, he doesn't have that vision. From where you're going to get it? He said, I can't. It's not like other stuff. So even if he has an interest, like what connectivity you have with the kid as mother, he will never have. He cannot have. So we can say that for anything that happens, just I'm asking you a point blank question. What is the level of patience you have for your kids, and how much does Ruchit Bhai have?
I mean, I have more
See,
naturally.
it is not that you're good. You have that naturally with you, and he doesn't have that naturally with him. So I would say that what your right leg does and what your left leg does, they both have to go together. You must play your part perfectly, and the outcome would be you will walk very nicely. But if there is no coordination, there's no matching, then you don't expect the result. You play your part, let him play his part. You don't expect him to do certain thing which you only can do. Nature has blessed you with that quality. That's the thing. And I believe you can easily understand that also. What is needed is forget about your job and all that. That you have additional responsibility, I would say. And with all your education, you must work. There's no problem. But then what is your duty naturally, what you have got as a mother? Don't refrain from that and don't expect from their father also. And you can give that, even with that little time you have, you can give that quality time to them. So don't calculate the number of hours you are giving, but what is the number of, quality time you are giving to them. So even if you are far away, that connectivity will not be lost. But if you expect that connectivity be with their father, forget it. It's like during the day, how much you think about your kids and how much does the father think about his kids. It will be drastically different. Now, how can you blame them? No. This is the natural connectivity what you have with the kids. They'll be more heady and you will be more hearty. And I believe every mother would accept this. So with this understanding, forget about that equality. What equality is, I believe, it is used for some very dangerous ulterior motive. It is not a natural thing. Jai Satchidanand.
And can I follow up with that? So if there is that natural connection between mother and child, and the spouse does notice that,
Who does
and
notice?
Richard notices that, but I think he also feels a little jealous, or maybe he feels bad. Like, what prayer do I put in so he doesn't feel that way?
You have to tell him you are a great father. Don't try to be a great mother. You appreciate me as mother, I appreciate you as a great father. That's all. So if he tries to find equality with you as a mother, that's not going to happen because he's a father. That's it. So appreciate that you are a great father, and you are. You are. There's no doubt about it. And so there's no question of jealousy. The right leg doesn't feel jealous of the left leg.
No,
Nor
just
does the left leg
just
feel
the
jealous.
vibration or the sense that you feel, the discussion.
You ignore that. Don't support that.
Okay.
And in your dealing, don't let it come out anyway. Whatever way, if it is coming even in your mind, you clear that in your mind itself.
Okay.
I was about to say something. Dada Bhagwan, what he said, nobody thinks of Tirthankar Bhagwan is there. The best of the best virtues, what he gets is from his mother. Nobody refers to his father. From father, he gets the kud. What is that kud? Kshatriya kud. That is it. So he has his own value. So might as well, he must appreciate that and feel happy about it. Feel great about it, not just happy.
Mhm.
Jai Satchidanand.
Okay, Jai Satchidanand, thank
Jai
you.
Satchidanand, a couple of points, Pooja. From my observation, it's staying 7 years with my kids, and some buzzwords, they sacrifice time, playing part, and quality time. You know, it's happened that my kids, my son and my daughter-in-law,
Mhm.
both are working. Daughter-in-law works more because she's a physician. My older son is also a physician, but he
Mhm.
doesn't practice, so he's his
Mhm.
own consultant. Okay? So he works from home, so he's more at home than my daughter-in-law. So, but naturally, something whatever happened between them, I don't think is by design, but certain tasks, they just divided naturally. Like when Sonali came home, homework was my part, checking and all that stuff. Then she would like music, uh, piano, and all that stuff. My sons. So when my daughter-in-law came home, she just briefly talked to her for 5-10 minutes and just get the hang of what she was doing. And she was hung up on English. So in the morning at breakfast, she'll quiz her what I have taught her in the English only, nothing else. Okay, so that was natural boundary between them. And in weekend, guess what? Sonali, nobody could touch Sonali. Only her mother
Just
would
with
touch
mom.
Sonali.
Mhm.
So, what I was trying to say, time-wise, if between you and Ruchi, if you can,
Mhm.
just some demarcation,
Mhm.
my time is my time, your time or whatever, and task,
And
then
as
that,
a grandparent, you felt okay with that division? Like everybody came to agreement?
I'm sorry?
Everybody came to agreement with that division?
No, it just flowed naturally because he was
Yeah.
working, she was working,
Yeah.
and I was there, Ba was there. So obviously food went to Ba, Sonali and food went to Ba, education to me. And between those two, when there were times, there was some demarcation made.
Good.
I don't know, consciously or unconsciously, I don't know. But that way, if you can distinguish something, time and some duties, then hopefully it will fall into place. That's my observation.
Yeah. Thank you.
Jai Satchidanand. Bhumika?
Jai Satchidanand.
Bhumika?
Jai
Yeah.
Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand.
I have quite a few questions. So the way I grew up, Mara dad know there was so much pressure to get 100% on everything. I studied in India, but it was a different Indian values of studying and the pressure. And even if you get one wrong, it's like, કેમ ખોટું પડ્યું, right? Right away. એટલે એ વખતે મને નતું ગમતું કે he's not appreciating કે આટલા બધા સાચા પડ્યા અને એક ખોટું પડ્યું એમાં ફોકસ કરે છે. So I that with the kids, right? But at the same time, I want to teach them that, we should investigate a khotu કેમ પડ્યું so we can do better next time. હું એવી રીતના એ લોકોને સમજાવું. But their answer is always with, oh, well, the teacher praised us that I did such a good job. And it's not always about winning, or it's not about coming first. It's about just doing a good job, right? So I try to tell them, like, it's not always about doing good job, it's about doing a great job, doing your best. If you're capable of doing your best, why settle for something a little less, right? But that concept, it kind of like interferes with the school value system and Indian value system, where I feel like I'm in between the Indian value system and school value system. So I don't know how to explain to the kids without putting too much pressure on them, because they kind of get upset. I do, praise them. Oh, you did a great job. But let's see, how we can improve, but they just don't want to improve. So that's one question. Second is, I try to teach kids based on their level. Like I feel like, you know, Ariana and Sanaya are at a different level. So I tend to put a little bit more pressure on Ariana because she can comprehend and grasp task faster. But then Ariana gets upset, why don't you say the same thing to Sanaya? And I try to explain, but you know, I need help with that. And third is about the equality. So, you know, working together, as you said, in the Western world, right? So the kids see in my side of the family, like the men, women, everyone, we do things together. But on Swarup's side of the family, it's more the women have to do everything in terms of kitchen or cleanup or taking care of kids or all of that. And I mean, Swarup has seen both sides and tries to go in between. But now that the kids are getting older, they're, can you hear me?
Yes, 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 yes.
Hello?
Yes,
You're
yes.
audible.
Go ahead. Bhumika, you're
Hello?
okay. Yes. We heard you. Bhumika? We lost it. Bhumika?
Actually, her video got stuck, but her voice was audible.
Hello?
Yes. Go ahead. Do you hear us?
She cannot hear us. Bhumika, can you hear us?
Hello?
She cannot hear.
Recording in progress.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Why is two things?
Okay, I don't know what you heard last.
No, you were audible. You were saying about quality.
Oh, yeah, equality. So between in the Western world, like you said, you know, it's more put in that men and women always have to do everything together, right? So in my side of the family, we have where, you know, the men and women, we work together, whether it's to clean up or even if the woman cleans, like the men clean up. So my kids that see that side, and then they see on this side that, oh, only women do all of that when it comes to cooking or cleaning and all of that. So, you know, it's kind of difficult now because the girls, as they're getting older, you know, for example, we were at my cousin's house and I told the girls, oh, look, everyone is cleaning up. Come on, let's help everyone clean up. And right away in front of everyone, Ariana was like, no, not everyone is cleaning up. Daddy's not cleaning up. And it just kind of took me back a second. But then sort of came in and, you know, he said to them like, oh, let's clean up together. So that's coming in the way. And sort of is working now to make sure, you know, he helps out wherever he can. And I tell the kids, hey, look, I'm good at the cooking part, but then daddy's good at like fixing stuff. Mommy's not good at that. So we have our tasks divided, right? So we try to do it that way. But that's what it is. It's hard to teach them like the Western culture and Indian culture and what's right, what's wrong. And then the fourth part that gets into is we live with, my in-laws, and they have their complete Indian values as well, right? That, okay, so women will do some things and men do some things. So even if I teach the kids certain way, it's right away, it's like, no, we need to do it this way. And then I have a conversation with them that, since we live in this society, we have to go based on that. And then the final question is that, like, when kids are crying for something, and I have to sometimes put my foot down. Like, for example, Sanaya will just cry for junk food all the time. And I'm like, no, we just ate dinner. It's not time for junk food. What's the reason behind it? And many times that's what happens. And but I have to put my foot down. I'm like, bhale rati, radwa do. Ek baar radse, be baar radse, kitli baar radse. But then, grandparents feel bad. They come and get, it's okay, happy there, right? Like, but she happy then, but she just doesn't improve. What do you do in that situation?
Pulinanandji?
Yeah. See, one of the first things was value systems that you have inherited from your father. Okay, you must get good marks and all that. So somehow that rubs into you, and that is going to be with all. I'm making a general statement for everybody. તમને મા બાપ થવાનું શીખો ક્યાંથી? તમારા મા બાપ તમારી સાથે જેવો વ્યવહાર કર્યો ને એ તમારી ફર્સ્ટ લર્નિંગ છે. એ તમે તમારા ચિલ્ડ્રનને બી એવી રીતે જ રેઝ કરશો. So that is why you also had this pressure on them for getting good marks and all that, because that is what you inherited. That is what we all have to now put a watch on. કે તમે અત્યારની જનરેશન એ લોકોના સંજોગ એટલે અમેરિકા છે, ઇન્ડિયા છે, એ જોઈને વેલ્યુ સિસ્ટમ નાખજો. That is number one. So you cannot impose what you learned from your father. અને you are doing a good job કે ભાઈ આટલું ખોટું કેમ આવ્યું એ ટ્રાય કરો. So that is perfect. પછી જે તમે કીધું ને કે your side of the family, men and women share the household task equally. His Swarup side of the family is more like Indian stuff, and that is what I said the very first day. છોકરાઓને જે બી તમારે શીખવાડવું હોય, જે બી શીખવાડવું હોય, they will only learn what they watch, and that's exactly what has happened. They have watched both the things and they have selected what they have wanted. So the only way to teach them is you're both of you together. તમે બે જણા જે કરશો એ લોકો શીખશે. Because of this thing, Swarup has now come around to the corner કે હું બી equally help કરું તો છોકરાઓ બી equality વાળું સમજશે. ખ્યાલ આવ્યો ને? એટલે એને જે તમારે જે બી એને શીખવાડવું હોય, તમે ઇન્ડિયન વેલ્યુ સિસ્ટમ આપવું હોય કે અમેરિકન વેલ્યુ સિસ્ટમ આપવું હોય, એ both of you have to practice. There is no shortcut to it. અને એના માટે પેરેન્ટ્સનું યુનિટી ઇન ધ સેન્સ કે આપણે છોકરાઓને આ રીતે રેઝ કરવું જોઈએ. યુનિટી ઓફ વિઝન, there could be differences of opinion, but unity of vision એ બહુ જ જરૂરી છે. એન્ડ જ્યાં જ્યાં તમારે ડિવિઝન આવશે, you don't agree with each other, you have disagreed in front of the kids, you have to agree in front of the kids for some other reason, praise each other, show that you are one. એટલે practice what you want to preach in one line. તમારે જે બી છોકરીઓને શીખવાડવું હોય, હાઉસહોલ્ડ વર્ક, આ વર્ક, તે વર્ક, બેવ જણાએ કરવું પડશે, બતાવવું પડશે. There is no shortcut.
But Pulinanandji, so my question with that was, sometimes jo Swarup help bhi kare, then when grandparents are involved, as a son, they see their son working and they're like, no, Swarup hu kar nakhu chu, tu besi ja, right? So what do you do in that situation? I mean, I think it has to come from Swarup at that point, but Swarup just gets pressurized and he just then leaves.
એટલે જ કહું છું, I know it is difficult. I know it is difficult કે ગ્રેન્ડ ને કેવી રીતે કન્વિન્સ કરવા કે આ વેલ્યુ સિસ્ટમ અમેરિકામાં અમે આ રીતે સંસ્કાર આપવા માંગીએ છીએ. એટલે એ તો તમારે ચારે જણાએ શાંતિથી બેસવું જ પડશે. પહેલા તો તમે બે જણાએ બેસવું પડે કે ડુ વી એગ્રી ઓન ધીસ લાઇન ઓફ એક્શન, અને પછી સમહાઉ ગ્રેન્ડ પેરેન્ટ્સને કન્વિન્સ કરવા પડશે કે અત્યારની જનરેશન આવી છે અને આ જનરેશન માટે થોડી કડકાઈ કરવી પડે. લાઈક યુ સેડ, યુ આર પુટિંગ યોર ફૂટ ડાઉન ફોર જંક ફૂડ. તો ત્યાં તમે લોકો ઇન્ટરફિયર ના કરો તો સારું, કારણ કે છોકરું રડશે એક વાર, બે વાર, ત્રણ વાર, પછી જિંદગીમાં નહીં રડે. ધ બેસ્ટ એક્ઝામ્પલ ઇઝ, એ ત્રાગુ કરે, જીદ કરે ને, તમે એને કરવા દો પછી બંધ કરશે. પણ ત્રાગુ કર્યા પછી જો એને વસ્તુ મળશે તો એ શીખશે કે ત્રાગુ કરવાથી વસ્તુ મળે છે. દેટ ઇઝ ધ લર્નિંગ વી આર ગિવિંગ ધેમ. બટ ત્રાગુ કરવા છતાં નહીં મળે એટલે નહીં મળે તો એ શીખશે. એટલે somehow we have to onboard the parents for that. somehow. એટલે બેઝિકલી તમે બે એગ્રી થતો તો જ તમે એને ઓન બોર્ડ કરી શકશો, નહીતર તો પછી ઇટ્સ અ વેરી ચેલેન્જ, ઇટ્સ અ બિગ ચેલેન્જ. પેરેન્ટ્સ વચ્ચે આવી જાય ને ઇટ્સ અ બિગ ચેલેન્જ. એટલે એ તો પ્રાર્થના જ કરવી પડે, કાં તો એને સમજાવવા પડે, અને કાં તો just see how what is the best you can do in your situation. Equality એટલે એ તો છે જ. You can as you said, you don't compare between the two kids. એ થોડું થશે જ. ઇટ્સ અ બિગ ચેલેન્જ, ઇટ્સ અ બિગ ચેલેન્જ. એકને આપો ને બીજાને ના આપો, તું મને જ શું કામ કે છે, ઓલીને કેમ નથી કીધું. ઘણી વાર તો બે છોકરાઓ લડે ને તો મમ્મી મોટીને કે તું મોટી છે ને, તું સમજે છે ને, તું છોડી દે ને. એટલે ઓલી મોટી કે દર વખતે મારે જ છોડી દેવાનું, તું એ નાનીને કેમ કઈ કહેતી નથી. એ નાનો છોકરો કે છોકરી જે હોય. એટલે ઇટ ઇઝ અ ચેલેન્જ. એટલે બેવને સમજાવવાનું, ડ્રામા કરવાનો, હો કરવાનું, બેવ સમજો, બેવ સમજતા નથી, આમ તેમ, અને just leave it at that. Everything doesn't have an answer in black and white.
Yeah.
Everything, there is no answer for everything black and white. And number two, આ જે ધમાલ કરે છે ને છોકરાઓ, આઈધર ફોર હોમવર્ક, ટોયસ, ઇનઇક્વાલિટી, ઝઘડા ઝઘડી, એ અલ્ટિમેટલી એ તમારો ભોગવટો છે. યુ આર ધ સફરર ઇન ધ એન્ડ. અને એ તમારો ભોગવટાના કારણો જુદા છે. યુ હેવ ટુ ટેક ઇટ ફ્રોમ અ લાર્જર પર્સપેક્ટિવ કે આ તો ખાલી મારો ભોગવટો છે, બાકી એ લોકો ધમાલ કરશે ને પછી તમે સિક્રેટલી જશો તો અંદર રમતા હશે એકબીજા સાથે. આમ they'll fight and then other they'll be playing also with each other. અને એકબીજા વગર ગમશે પણ નહીં. I tell you that also. એટલે એ ખાલી the summary is એ લોકોનું જે ધમાલ કરવું, તમને ઇરિટેટ થવું, એ તમારો ભોગવટો છે. It is not a problem which needs an answer and a solution. It is not a problem which needs an answer and solution. એ છે એ લોકો પાસે, એ લોકો રમશે ને જમશે ને બધું જ કરશે. They will know કે આપણે પેરેન્ટ્સ ને આમ મેન્યુપ્યુલેટ કરી રહ્યા છે. They are very sharp kids. એટલે you have to view this problem in a different perspective. એ જો ધમાલ કરે છે ને એ ડિફરન્ટ પર્સપેક્ટિવ થી કરવાની છે કે આ મારો ભોગવટો આવ્યો. એ ભોગવટોના કારણો હું ક્યારેક નેક્સ્ટ ટાઈમ કે ક્યારેક આગળ આપણે જો હસબન્ડ વાઇફ નું રિલેશન થોડું કંઈક સત્સંગ લઈશું ને આપણે, હાઉ spouses should deal with each other, એમાં I will try to reveal that point. So some things you try your best and leave it. એ તમારો ભોગવટો છે, ભોગવટો તમે ભોગવી લ્યો, એના બેસ્ટ ઇન્ટેન્શન થી આગળ વધો. Some things you can talk, put it in black and white. Some things you cannot do it. એ તમારો વ્યક્તિગત ભોગવટો છે, એ તમે નિકાલ કરી નાખો. Prayers, intentions and the best effort. That is all that is work. Practice what you want to preach. There is no shortcut to that. એ લોકો એટલું જ શીખશે જેટલું એ લોકો જોશે. And a unity between the two spouses as to what values we want to instill. If Swarup comes under pressure, જવા દે ને પપ્પા મમ્મી આમ કે છે, then જવા દે. Then you cannot do anything about it. One-sided you cannot do anything about it. But એ જે કીધું ને, મધરની કનેક્ટિવિટી with the child is extremely unique and there is no shortcut to it. એ ગમે તેટલું ઝઘડશે ને આવશે તો મા પાસે જ પછી. All you have to do, which I tell sometimes to everybody, as the daughter grows up, the mother should become her best friend. As the son grows up, the father should become his best friend over a period of time. Grows up means 13, 14, 15, the entire teen. કારણ કે એને ત્યારે જે problems આવશે ને, she will need a lot of guidance. And if she does not get guidance from in the house, she will get outside. And outside જશે ને, so there is no guarantee whether she has got the right guidance in terms of friendship, dating, and watching, eating, etc., etc. Now, if she feels my mother is my best friend, then she will confide in you. મમ્મી સ્કૂલમાં આમ થયું તું, આ છોકરાએ આમ કર્યું, મારી સામે આમ કરે છે, મારે શું કરે. So you have to somehow maintain that rapport. They must feel my mother is my best friend. All said and done, my mother is my best friend. That will only come from a hearty connection. હૃદયથી તારું કનેક્શન હશે ને એનું સારું થાવ. That will work. કારણ કે એનું ટીનેજ સાચવી લેવાનું છે તારે. All daughters નું upbringing માટે that bonding is a must. Either they get love from the house or they get love from outside. આજે આનો ક્વેશ્ચન બી હતો, દિનેશનો ક્વેશ્ચન હતો કે મેં બેસ્ટ ઓફ ધ સ્કૂલમાં મૂક્યું તો એનું હાઉ ડુ આઈ એન્શ્યોર ધેટ શી ગેટ્સ ધ રાઇટ ઇન્ફ્લુઅન્સ. એનો એક જ આન્સર છે જે દાદા ભગવાને બી આપેલો છે. Children, they must get so much of love in the house. એને લાગવા છે my daddy is great, my mama is great, કાંઈ બી હતો I will follow them, I will go to them. એને ઘરમાં એટલો પ્રેમ મળે ને, બહારથી પ્રેમ શોધવા ના જવું પડે. They will always come back to you. That is the attraction, the magnetic attraction, the bonding you have to develop. એ હશે ને તો બહાર ગમે એટલું કુસંગ હશે. Because અમેરિકામાં ઇટ્સ અ બિગ ચેલેન્જ. કારણ કે ત્યાંની નોનવેજ ખાવાનું, ડ્રિંક્સ લેવાનું, ડેટિંગ કરવાનું, વેલ્યુ સિસ્ટમ જ આખી સોસાયટીની જુદી છે. You see, it's an absolutely different value system. હવે એ તો એને આવવાનું જ છે. They are going to be exposed to it. Now, how do you ensure કે એ ઇન્ફ્લુઅન્સ તમારા છોકરાઓ પર ના આવે? Because we are also an Indian children. And the one only answer to that is they receive so much of love and affection from in the parents that they feel this is great, I enjoy here, and what they say is the gospel truth. Look at ourselves. અમને દાદા ભગવાન પાસેથી પ્રેમ મળ્યો, અમને દાદા ભગવાન પાસેથી સાચું જ્ઞાન અને સમજ મળી. એટલે we are dead convinced દાદાએ કીધું ને એટલે કરેક્ટ જ છે. તમે લોકો બી જોઈ લેજો, you are influenced by somebody આ માણસ તો બહુ ચોખ્ખો છે, આને કીધું ને એટલે કરેક્ટ જ હોય. You may not go into the logic and counter logic. You may not agree with his viewpoint, but in the kidu એટલે correct છે, because you have that respect and you have that like yes, I believe. That belief is then in that person. Now that is exactly what either the parents or at least the mother has to generate. Mother can do it because એક કુદરતી બક્ષિસ છે, કુદરતી, કારણ કે એ મમતાનો ભાગ છે ને અને મોહનો ભાગ છે. મમતા is something which father cannot generate. દીપકાનંદને કીધું ને એવી રીતે એ આવી જ ના શકે. ઈગો આવે, ગિફ્ટ આપશે, પ્રેમ આપશે, બેસ્ટ ઓફ બીજું બધું આપશે, બટ હી કેનોટ જનરેટ મમતા. એ પરમાણુના ગુણ છે, લોભ અને એ પરમાણુના ગુણ, ખ્યાલ આવે. એટલે એ મમતાનો એક પોઝિટિવ આસ્પેક્ટ લઈ એક બોન્ડિંગ ક્રિએટ કરવાનું છે. આઈધર વર્બલાઇઝ ઇટ ઇન યોર એક્શન or it is at the bottom of the heart. એને કીધું હું પેટ્રિયટ ફેમિલીમાંથી આવું છું, I don't have the scope to speak up in the family, so heartથી કરો. Otherwise if you have an opportunity to do it by action and by talk, that hearty bonding, the children feel that my parents is ultimate. Bhale I disagree, but advice to મને સાચી જ આપશે. That is the biggest security bubble you are generating from them, જેથી કરીને બહારની અવળી અસરો એક્સપોઝ થશે પણ એ લોકો એક્સેપ્ટ નહીં કરે. એ લોકો જ રિજેક્ટ કરી દેશે, આ રોંગ છે, આ મારા મમ્મા પપ્પા ના પાડે છે, એટલે ખોટી વસ્તુ છે, ખલાસ. ભલે ને એના ફ્રેન્ડ 10 વાર એમ કે યુ ટ્રાય ધીસ નોનવેજ, there's nothing wrong in this, you try this, what is wrong in this? No sir, it is not wrong. That they will generate. એટલે પછી દુનિયામાં ગમે ત્યાં જશે ને, they will always be on the right track. So that is the core human value, that bonding you have to generate. Yes. પછી અમુક તો વ્યવસ્થિત એનું લાવેલા છે. હવે આપણા અમુક મહાત્માઓ મેં જોયું છે અમેરિકામાં છે, એના છોકરા છોકરીઓ ફોરેનર સાથે પરણેલા છે. હવે ત્યાંથી ઉછરેલા છે એટલે ત્યાંનું કઈક બોન્ડિંગ એ હિસાબ કિતાબ જો હશે તો એ કરવાના જ છે. યુ સી અલ્ટિમેટલી સમથિંગ ઇઝ પાર્ટ ઓફ ધેર વ્યવસ્થિત. પણ અત્યારે આપણા હાથમાં જેટલું છે, ટિલ ધેર એજ 10 or 15 or approximately 20 or something like that, આપણી ફરજમાં છે, આપણા હાથમાં છે, આપણી ભાવના છે, એટલું આ હાર્ટીલી કોર પ્રિન્સિપલ્સ અને દાદાના જ્ઞાન અને સહાયતા સાથે કરી. Then you are not responsible. Then what happens after that? And everything does not have an answer in black and white. So don't get too worked up about everything. You get too worked up. In America, you get too worked up. એને આ ભણ્યું નથી, એને આ નથી કર્યું, ઓલું શું થશે, અરે કશું નથી થવા. These are minor hiccups. એ તમારા ભોગવટા છે, એના વ્યવસ્થિતમાં કંઈ જ પ્રોબ્લેમ આવવાનો નથી. I guarantee, which I will reveal little later. So some things, don't try to thrash each and every problem threadbare and neat and clean classified question છે, answer છે, solved. No, some things will remain in the gray area which nature will solve. તમારા intentions થી best કરો, otherwise you will get stressed out unnecessarily. એટલે એટલા માટે એક મિનિટ એટલા માટે મેં મેઇન વસ્તુ સોરી આઈ એમ ટાઈમ અપ, જસ્ટ હાફ અ મિનિટ. પ્રાર્થના કરજો કે આઈડિયલ પેરેન્ટ્સ બનીએ, ધેટ ઇઝ ઓલ. I break time up થઈ ગયો છે એટલે I break.
No, this is very good. I think we'll continue with that because I have to say a lot of things, something on teachers saying this and friends saying this, and so we need to continue this. This is very good.
આપણે at least 1 week or maybe 2 weeks continue કરજો.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there's a lot of Krishna had questions. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions coming up.
Yeah. All parents, please open up. You know what? More than us, it will also be a parent-to-parent sharing of experiences in raising kids.
Yeah.
So we continue next time. Sorry, we are over.
Yeah, we'll be going for 3-4 weeks, Pulinanandji, because this is very interesting.
Yeah,
and we have not heard from Payal yet, so we have to hear her version also. Okay, Deepakanandji, 3 mantras we won't follow, just 3 mantras.
Namo Vitragai, Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Loe Sava Sahunam, Eso Panchanamukaro, Sava Bhavapanasano, Mangalanam Chasavesim, Padamam Havai Mangalam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand.